Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. Let us play Spirit Island. New game. Let's do 2 spirits. Any complexity. Random adversary, and let's go ahead and do random adversary here. 2 adversaries. Although I don't want England 3 and Russia 0. Maybe I'll just the zooming in and out always gets me. Let's see. If I do England 2, Russia 2, is that okay? I don't know how the difficulty is calculated. I forget. I think it's something like 2/3 of one and 1/3 of the other. Anyway, what do we have for this? We have Ocean's Hungry Grasp. We have a spread of rampant green. Okay. So let's see. England 2. Additional loss condition, proud and mighty capital. If 7 or more buildings are ever in a single land, the invaders win. Escalation, which I believe happens on stage 2. Building boom. On each board with buildings, build in a land with the most buildings. Fear card distribution 4/4/3, although, well, +1 fear 1, +1 terror level 2. Indentured servants earn land. Invader build actions affect lands without invaders if they are adjacent to at least 2 buildings before the build action. Criminals and malcontents during setup on each board add a city to land number 1 and a town to land number 2. We also have Russia. Hunters swarm the island. Track beasts destroyed by adversary rules. If that number ever exceeds the number of beasts on the island, the invaders win. Escalation on stage 3, I believe. Stalk the predators. On each board, add 2 explorers total among lands with beasts. If you can't, instead add 2 explorers among lands with beasts on a different board. +1 terror level 1, +1 terror level 3. Hunters seek shell and hide. During setup, on each board, add a beasts and explorers to the highest numbered land without buildings. During play, explorers do +1 damage. When Ravage adds blight to a land, including cascades, destroy a beasts in that land. Also a sense for impending disaster. The first time each action would destroy explorers. If possible, one of those explorers is instead pushed. 1 fear when you do so. Cool. So explorers deal extra damage. Blight destroys beasts from Ravage. Explorer and beasts highest number land without buildings. First time each action will destroy explorers. One of those explorers is pushed instead. Stop zooming in and screwing up the thing. Invader build actions affect lands without invaders. If they're at least adjacent to at least 2 buildings before the build action, we start with a city in land 1 and a town in land 2. And we lose if there are too many buildings in a single land, or when the number of destroyed beasts exceeds the number of beasts on the island. Okay. Let's see. Let's go. What's up? Didn't read any of the spirits either, though. These are like base game spirits, so if you've been playing Spirit Island for a while, these are of course familiar to you, but Ocean's Hungry Grasp. Set up 2 presents on your starting board, 1 in the ocean and 1 in a coastal land of your choice. Special rules, oceans in play. You may place or move presents into oceans, but may not play or move presents into inland lands. Oceans on boards with any of your presents are treated as coastal wetlands for powers and blight. Any powers or Dahan moved to those oceans are drowned. And drowning, destroy drowned pieces, placing drowned invaders here. At any time you may exchange X health of these invaders for 1 energy, where X equals the number of players. And the innate powers, pound ships to splinters, which generates fear on a coastal land, fast. Ocean breaks the shore, slow coastal power, drowns buildings. And we get moon, water, earth on the energy track, up to 2 energy per turn, 5 card plays per turn, but lots of energy from drowning. And then we have a spread of rampant green, which starts with 2 presents on your starting board, 1 in the highest number wetland and 1 in the jungle without any Dahan. We have special rules, choke the land with green. Whenever invaders would ravage or build in a land with your sacred site, you may prevent it by destroying 1 of your presents in that land. Also, steady regeneration. When adding presents to the board via growth, you may optionally use the destroyed presents. If the island is healthy, do so freely. If the island is blighted, doing so costs 1 energy per destroyed presents you add. And Base power is creep repair into mortar. Slow power, range 0, but deals damage to buildings. All enveloping green, fast, range 1 sacred site is defend and could remove blight. Gets plants on the energy track, up to 3 energy per turn and 4 card plays per turn. Excellent. So let me double check the second adversary. Just because I want to double check how stuff works. All right, each tier level in the fear deck uses 3 fear cards at base plus the extra cards added or subtracted by each adversary. So that's why I said +1 tier level 1, +1 tier level 3. If both adversaries modify the invader deck, first all the instructions on the supporting adversary applied in order, and then all the instructions on the leading adversary applied in order. Impossible instructions are skipped, but in this case there's no modifications to the invader deck. If playing versus France level 2 or higher, but we're not. And how else does multiple adversaries change things? I assume it's... Well, so we went through the fear cards. Escalation, I think, is the other one. Which is during the explore, right? Or is that... It's down there. Escalation with 2 adversaries. The leading adversary's escalation effect will apply normally. The supporting adversary will apply its escalation effect on all stage 3 invader cards. Okay. Cool. Oh, great. So ocean's growth is 1 in the ocean, 1 in any coastal land. Well, we have 1 with a city in town, and 1 with a city, and 1 with nothing in there. I kind of want to go where there's lots of things. They're going in the wetlands. Uh-huh. Alright, so... Bearing in mind that explorers deal +1 damage, beasts that are destroyed from blight, or beasts are destroyed by blight placed from ravages. So C8 is actually a priority. C5 has a blight in it. A2 has a Dahan. A5 has a presence in there, but we could prevent the ravage. I don't know that we necessarily want to prevent the build. I don't see how helpful that would be. So they didn't explore any coastal other than A2, so gathering 2 explorers into the ocean's not viable at the moment. And there is kind of a special rule, or not special rule, but an interesting interaction here, because the first time each action would destroy an explorer, instead one of those explorers is pushed. So if I were to drown 2 explorers in the ocean, one of them would not actually get destroyed, it will actually get pushed. So it actually would still leave the ocean, it wouldn't actually drown. Those silly Russians are able to swim, I guess. But if the ocean were isolated for some reason, but we still gathered 2 explorers, but we couldn't push them out for whatever reason, then they would be in an illegal state and would still be removed, I think. You can't just leave invaders on the ocean. I think. Alright. So we obviously have Overgrowth, add an extra presence. We have a Growth of Proliferation, which adds an extra presence. It's what makes green a powerful spirit. Fields Choked to push a town, which we'd love to push into the ocean whenever possible. Currently, board A is not Oceans, so I want to change that. Do I want 2 card plays? Defend 4 is not doing anything. Gathering's not going to do much. Drowning an explorer in a town. Well, instead that would be pushed. And we also have Tidal Boon, where target spirit may push a town up to 2 Dahan from their lands. Doesn't stop the Ravage in A5 as that explorer is dealing 2 damage, but we could use that to push that town out. Not sure the best way of dealing with C8 though. Um... In any case, I feel like I have an energy. Oh, because I clicked. I clicked for this option 2. That's why I have the energy. I'm like, why do I have energy in turn 1? I feel like 2 card plays isn't going to do much. Will that moon and water do much? If I play an air card, I get a fear, but that's going to be Call of the Deeps, which I don't really want to do. If I play a water card, I have this water. I do drown a town. And I'm currently in a land with the town, so I do think I want the elements then. I mean, I could also just play 2 cards to get the water, but I don't immediately see why I would want to play 2 cards. Also, I could gather this Explorer out of C5, but it's adjacent to 4 buildings, so this land's still gonna build. Because England. So this is in an ocean. I guess it's gonna go on board A since there's 2 presents on board C already. Ideally, pushing a town into the ocean is nice. I could potentially get into A2 with Gift of Proliferation, at which point I could use Swallow Land Dwellers. I do want to play an Earth card anyway, right? So it's either Tidal Boon or Swallow the Land Dwellers. Let's do Swallow the Land Dwellers so I could like drown a town and explore in here. It is gonna drown the Dahan. I could use Field's Choke to push one Dahan out, or I could just accept that Dahan's dead. Although I'm not actually going to play multiple cards this turn, I don't feel like. Am I gaining a power card, or am I doing, like, multiple presences? Obviously, presence the jungler wetland, but I want to get to this plant, I feel like. Again, I could just go straight to 2 card plays, but I like having elements. If I get to this plant on turn 1, I play Gift of Proliferation, I get to deal 1 damage to a building. Yeah, that's great. If I do like the same thing on the next turn, I get the 2 card plays, plus 1 card play. I could play my hand if I have energy for that. Don't actually have energy for that. Unless I did do Tidal Boon instead. But if I were to play my hand, and I have the innate plant, then I get to defend 4 next turn. From a sacred site, which means like, well, this is gonna have a town in there. But defend 4 could be good. It could defend C5. So let's say, for instance, that I do this. I guess I get an extra card play this turn now, which I don't have to take. I'm not gonna have the energy play Overgrow, but that would be another way of getting to 2 card plays next turn, if I somehow had the energy, which I do not. This is presence range 1. I would like to defend C5 just because there's the Han in there. And C8 I would like to block, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. What if instead... I was thinking I was gonna get into this land, but maybe I just don't. What if instead... Take this back. Take that back. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, if I gain a power card. Gets me lots of energy. But what if I play Overgrow then? And then next turn I do Middle Growth option to get to 2 card plays. Two plus one. So I play 3 cards next turn. And then I could probably gain a power card on turn 3. Play 2 cards, and then... So I play 1 card this turn. 3 cards next turn, 2 cards the turn after that, so that's 6 cards. Yeah, so I'd have enough cards for that. If I play Overgrow this turn, then I could play the 2 water cards next turn to get to defend 4. And I would just need to make sure I have a Sacred Site next to C5. I think C8 is still not going to happen. Yeah, I can't get a Sacred Site in C8 and also next to C5, I don't think. So let's take this. I kind of want plant, even though max growth, you don't really care about the plant too much, but let's see. Tormenting Rotflies is the only plant we have. We're not going to play this turn, as we're going to play Overgrow. But that plant doesn't really do much over here, but really nothing much does. I don't have any moons, so it'd just be air on one of those. But I could just take push 2 towns. It's not good elements, but pushing 2 towns is good for ocean. Let's take that. And then I will grow into C4, I suppose. Take the energy. Then we overgrow. So Swallow the Land Dwellers would only work in C2. Tidal Boon isn't going to push into the ocean. I guess actually we keep green energy for next turn if I did decide to play that instead. But that's fine. We have Ocean Breaks the Shore for C2. Tidal Boon to push out a C5, I guess, or A5. It's not gonna actually help with that Ravage at all, but I guess we could, well, we could push the town out of A8 instead, but that's not gonna do much either. But Overgrow, I could Overgrow here because my growth always goes in the jungle or wetland, but the only way to not grow in the jungle or wetland is the middle power. But I suppose I could do C7 just in case I have something that hits C8. Well, no, because I'm not gaining a power card next turn. I just need to have a Sacred Site near C5 or even in C5, but I feel like I need to be in C7 more than C5 because the inner land of C is harder for Ocean to reach. So now I have plant. They explored jungles, so maybe I do Tidal Boon out of A8. I can damage a building. All the great that does. Drown that town. I mean, this presence getting destroyed isn't bad because I can put destroyed presence back on the island very easily, but currently we are facing 3 blight, one of which is destroying a beast's. My defend 4 is not going to be enough because that's 3, 5, 7 damage in E2. I could call the deeps to gather the explorer out. Actually, that would be okay. And if I defend this, I call these 2 explorers out, and then I push the 1 explorer into A1, and I defend A2. The single Dahan kills the town, and then this guy is only next to 1 building, so it doesn't build. So that does prevent a build. So that ravage is then solved. This build is then solved. Also, I didn't change my my playmat. Ooh, this is a new one. Let's go with that one. I like to change it once per week, I guess. Let's go with the, you know, foggy ocean or something. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't make sense to really do this anywhere. And there's no Dahan in your lands. These are just the base ones. I mean, stopping the city feels like it's going to do more than maybe stopping that ravage. It would depend on the event card, really. So let's just group them all in the wetland. I mean, I could even block the ravage. Or block the build. It's okay to have a destroyed presence, though, because I can always put it back later. We said we were going to do this. I'm probably doing this on Ocean. Not much energy. We're playing the defend. I would like to get to 2-card play so I don't have energy gain this turn. So this would have to be a free power, although I think I was already playing Call of the Deeps anyway. So like this is basically the power card for turn 3. Call of the Dahan Ways is fine elements. Elusive Ambushes is okay. What do I care more about? We can eventually get a second water. Maybe I care about moon and earth more. This is the only earth, this is the only moon. And I do have an innate moon, which means that Call of the Dahan Ways will always have the threshold. Like, Ocean doesn't really care about Dahan, but like, I'll take that. Push from each ocean, add a presence to a coastal land. So yeah, so it's good I put the Sacred Site here so I can stay in that ocean for Call of the Deeps. Building in C1, but I could just push that presence over. I don't need to be in this land. Kinda don't want to be in that land, so I guess I just push this presence here. I want to be here, so maybe I grow in C3 for like best versatility. So we have 2 fear. Just from that. That's good. This ravage is still bad. This one's gonna be blocked. This one's bad. This one's gonna be blocked. This build's gonna be blocked. That's building. That's building. And I might block that. See, blocking the build isn't going to stop the Ravage, though, when Explorers deal 2 damage. But if I were to get rid of the buildings in the inner land, I mean, there'd still be Explorers, but then we could try to prevent inner land builds as much as we can, which is a tall order for Ocean, or for England, but anyway. I can use Stem the Flow in C4. Again, there's that single Explorer, so it's not really going to do that much. But I think we stick with the original thought, put Presence there since, well, it's harder to get into non-wetlands and jungles. Is it better to block the... Am I blocking this A5 Ravage or blocking the A8 build? Like, it almost makes more sense to just block Ravages in this game. Normally I would just say stop builds, but single Explorers are still going to get past the build, or still going to get the Ravage out. But we need to defend 4 for C5. So I need to play those cards, always. So we have a push town. I guess we could use that in A8, although pushing the ocean is obviously ideal. Drift proliferation, which... Sure. Ocean gets another presence. And then... Stem the Flow plus Creeper's Tear kills a town somewhere. This requires a Sacred Site, so if I'm blocking this Ravage, then it's not going to hit the A8 building. Which is why C4 seems better for that. Problem is going to be that I probably don't have Defend for next turn, but I could just block... Could block both Ravages by adding Presence, but... Yeah. I'm wasting a plus card play. I guess we'll see what happens. So add a presence to range 1 from their presence. Kind of would like to do double presence next turn. If I take energy track, I can get to earth and water next turn. Which means that I can actually get to 4 water. No, I won't have 3 earth, but I will have 4 water, which is kind of cool. So let's do that. I'll just put you there. Call the Deeps here, gathers these 2 explorers. One of them doesn't actually drown, but it goes into A1. Grasping Tide to defend there. All Enveloping Green to defend there. And we generate Fear. Alright. Distant Exploration. During the Explore step, invaders explore at +1 distance. That does nothing. Grim Toll. On each board, choose a land with disease. In that land, 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to Dahan. Fierce Mian. 1 fear per land with invaders where Dahan outnumber buildings. That gets us a fear card. Plan for departure. Each player may gather a town into a coastal land. Interesting. This town's dead. I can gather these 2 towns into A1. I don't want to gather the town there. I mean... It doesn't stop that Ravage, but... Explorer gets pushed. Just go there. This is... a painful beasts. And I'm gonna lose this presence if the Ravage happens. And they're going mountains. Alright, so... Originally, I was going to destroy the building in C4. Destroying the building in C7 is a thought, too. Might just block the build, so there's no inland city. C1 is a problem, but I can't reach it with any of these things. We do have push a town. We could push this town into the ocean. This could also push 3 to Han, but... Definitely can't block all the jungle ravages this turn. And then C1 we don't have an immediate solution for. Especially because ocean is... If I stick with my original thought, I'm not actually going to have a fast power that helps there. Do I need to recalculate? None of these powers are going to help with C1, no matter what. We're not going to have an air, so we're not getting fear there. So literally all of Ocean's powers are slow. So this presence is currently going to die. It's just annoying I can't, like, just kill the town and be like, oh, Ravage is solved. We don't even have the guarantee that we'll have a sacred site next turn, or let alone... Not a sacred site, but a water. We have one plant. I need to find a plant water card to be able to defend 2, but even defend 2 is not enough. And there's that build, but I can't stop that build ever. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know, the Russia Explorers thing is kind of annoying right now. Green not able to deal with Explorers innately is annoying. But what can you do? This land has a beast, so it's high priority that I stop this Ravage. This Ravage is okay if it goes off. I'm not happy about Ravages, but there's no beasts in there, so I want to solve this. And probably like, I mean, the most consistent way to do it is to put a Sacred Site there. I could maybe have it solved if I find a power card that pushes or gathers an Explorer fast. Or defends. Defend 2 is not going to be enough anywhere anyway, so if I do get it enough to defend 2, that would be like a candidate if I get rid of that town. If I stop the build in C7 to stop the city, then I'm not going to be able to stop the Ravage, because I'm not going to have a Sacred Site there in time, I think. Well, I will reclaim by that time that Ravage goes off, so maybe I could still do that. And obviously A1 is scary, and it has a beasts. But I'm kind of operating under the assumption that Ocean will be able to conquer that next turn. Because what we're gonna have 2 earth and 3 water, so we will drown a city. We can swallow a town and explorer. There's no Dahan in there, so this won't work. But it would work in C3. Currently they're building a city in there. Is it better to push the town out there so they don't build a city? I guess they're escalating potentially, so they're gonna double build there most likely anyway, so that's pretty much gonna have 2 cities there anyway, but it just feels like A1 is more easily solved even though there's more buildings in there. Just by virtue of Ocean being Ocean. It really feels like I should be able to solve the Jungle Ravages as green, but unless I decide I'm not going to take another power card next turn, instead do middle growth option and only have 1 card play, which seems bad. But the question is ultimately, what town am I destroying? What town am I pushing? The destroyed town is going to be one of these 2 towns. The pushed town could be pretty much any town. This is from a sacred site, so even if I if I wanted to block this Ravage with a sacred site, I'm not going to have a sacred site over here. So I think I just accept that this is lost. I'm not going to be able to defend that ever. I mean, there's not much point in blocking the city build if I'm going to have to block the Ravage anyway, so let's let the city build. Let's just destroy the town in C4. And then just to be safe, push the town out from here, even though it feels like it's more easily solved. But pushing a town to get an ocean energy is always fine. This is a card. If we wanted to defend, this is the card to take. This would have been great on Ocean, but this is the only one that has plant. Well, this has plant too, but this gives me the defend, and it pushes an explorer and town and a blight. And the Ocean is a coastal wetland for blight, so we can push blight into the ocean no problem. So I think it's that card. So we can actually defend C4. So if I let this city build, then pretty much the best course is going to be to block the A8 Ravage. Wait. I don't have the defend. Because I'm stupid. Okay. Then we still have the block C4 then. I did all that thinking about, oh, well, I have the plant and water. And the answer is I don't even have enough innate plant. Or was I ever going to? Okay, well. Let's do this and get the earth water. So we can drown a city. No fast powers. Sure hope I'm not screwing myself. Local diaspora in a single land with the most invaders. Push and explore a town into each adjacent land. Beasts prowl. Each beast generates 1 fear if invaders are present and moves to an adjacent land if not. Forsake the barren land. On each board, push 2 Dahan from your land with blight to a land without blight. Okay. So the push is happening from A1. It's not going to screw with the jungle ravage. It actually does help with A1 a little bit. Let's not put a town in A6. Let's say to each adjacent land. So actually, we don't have to push anything into A6. Let's keep you coastal, and let's put you in non-mountains. Beasts generate fear. It's 3 fear. Push 2 Dahan from a land with blight to a land without blight. So only C5. Unfortunately, we're blocking this ravage. This ravage is not going to have enough unless the fear card says something. But let's put it in C4 as we don't really want it in... Let's put it in C4. We don't really want it in C1. We don't want it in the coast anyway. Explorer does not affect coastal lands. That's not really so great. This ravage is that. This ravage is blocked. And that. Okay. Mountain build. We're going to let that build happen even though it is a city. Mountains again. So on board A, if I build here, it's makes this worse. Let's just do the wetland. This board. Let's not do that one. So they didn't explore the coastal, which we knew. We're drowning a city. I would suppose that the coastal city that the coastal mountain that I'm in makes the most sense. We can actually do this into A6. We also have Swallow the Land Dwellers. I think originally we were going to do that here. Now it feels like it's better in C3. However, there's a lot of Dahan in there, but... Since I just added a Dahan, should be fine, right? And presumably if I put you into the ocean, then you still drown, right? No? It's a different action? Okay. I tried. It does generate 2 fear, though. So, yeah, so what happened was the first time each action would destroy an explorer, push it instead. So the action Swallow the Land Dwellers pushed that explorer. So this was then pushed into the ocean, which triggered drowning. Or oceans in play, rather. Any invaders moved to those oceans are drowned. It's a separate action, so it triggers the thing again. So unfortunately that explorer does survive. Very... very, what's the word? Very sly. Push 2 towns. Would like to push one of these, but I can't. And then push Explorer Town Blight. So what's the best way of dealing with the mountains here? This one's actually entirely solved, because it's only next to 1 building. So there's no Ravage and there's no build. If I could solve this one... There's a... No, I don't have enough plays. Or no, I can get the 3 card plays, so I might be able to defend 4. I could stop that because it's next to... Well, I'd say it's next to only 1 building, but actually there's 2 buildings. But if I get rid of this town, it would be solved. I really wish I could hit this one, but I can't. This build's always going to happen, so... Most likely we'll be able to defend it. But we're still going to have to deal with the build. This one is most likely just going to be blocking the Ravage and then doing something later, but if I can somehow do stem the flow on that land, it is a mountain, so it does damage to each building, and if I could repeat Creeper's Tear a lot, that would be pretty good, but remains to be seen. I could push from here into the ocean. It only pushes one. Oh, it's still probably worth doing that. I was thinking I could push an Explorer and a Town and a Blight, but no, I can just push one. But nothing wrong with pushing towns. Is it major power for Ocean next turn? Honestly, lose Call of the Deeps because Gathering Explorers with Russia is not really... Or Gathering Explorers with with England doesn't do that much, and with Russia also doesn't do that much. Right, so I think I have to get rid of this town, right? Originally I said we could just defend it, but we actually do need to get rid of that town for this build to not happen. So let's just accept that we're doing that. So this is building but not ravaging. If I can defend that, then it's not building. That's not building or ravaging, so that's the only thing. So this is a nice turn then. Despite it being a double mountain ravage and build. So, also +2 energy. Okay, so let's take a major here and see what it is. Mists of Oblivion. I mean, that triggers fear, I guess, but kind of bad. Blazing Renewal to place Destroyed Presence, which Ocean has Destroyed Presence, and Green loves Destroyed Presence. Not good elements for Ocean, but it does deal damage to buildings. Draw towards a Consuming Void could target the Ocean. And then Pent-Up Calamity is kind of fun. Kind of like Blazing Renewal the most of these options. We could combo Mists of Oblivion with Stem the Flow. Or even with Creeper's Tear. Let's see what this is. This could also be major. You don't really care too much about gnawing root biters. So let's go ahead and take a major, because why not? Uh-huh. Unrelenting growth. Good elements, and it adds 1,000,000 presents? Oh boy. Paralyzing Fright actually works really well this turn. Just stop the Ravage and the build in A7. Or C7, rather. It says skip all invader actions, do not ravage, build, or explore in target land. I assume that means that no escalation happens there either. So that'd be a nice skip. Means I don't need to play cards to defend C7. And then Bargain of Coursing Paths. Bargain. 1 presence now and -1 energy per turn. Now, mark both target land and another land with 2 more Dahan. So it can't target the ocean. Ongoing. After pieces are added or moved into the marked lands, choose any land, then move those pieces directly to that land. I don't have 3 air. Or 2 earth. Well, I guess this says Earth on it, but yeah. You have those. The presence cost comes from your presence tracks. Okay. Destroyed presence is not a big deal anyway. -1 energy per turn would kind of suck since we only get to +3 energy, but... Mark both target land and another land with 2 or more Dahan. And after pieces are added or moved into the marked lands, choose any land, then move those pieces directly to that land. Can I choose the ocean? I mean... Oceans on boards with any of your presence are treated as coastal wetlands for powers. So this is a power effect, right? Right? Let me do a quick check. Rules check. Aha, perfect. Yes, you can move them to the ocean and drown them. Ooh. Ocean is not required to exchange drowned invaders for energy at a particular time, so it can save up invaders on turns when it will not gain much energy, avoiding fully paying for its bargains on those turns, and then cash them on a turn when it will gain a lot of energy. Oh boy. In any case, it doesn't actually say directly on this one about the official ruling, but I suppose that the ocean does count as a land you can move directly to. So if I take the bargain, after pieces are added or moved into the marked lands, just move them into the ocean. That sounds amazing. But it can only target lands with 2 or more Dahan. I'm trying to think about, like, if I mark A3 and C4, then jungles are pretty much a non-issue for the rest of the game. I guess these 2 jungles are still things, but, like... I mean, this coastal jungle is very likely to get explored. I mean, it is going to get explored at least once during Phase 2. It's either going to be a jungle explorer or a coastal explorer, or both, before we run out of Stage 2 cards. That said, we don't just want to move pieces that are explored in. We want to actually have them build and then push towns into the ocean. I could select like C4 and A6, and then these lands are then kind of the extension of the ocean, as I can just push things into there and then they move into the ocean. Also, it says pieces, not even invaders. I could push beasts into that land and then move the beasts anywhere. I could push blight. I could place a wild and then move that anywhere I want. I do feel like Paralyzing Fright is just so good this turn, in that it stops the Ravage and the build in C7, and then I can block the Ravage next turn in C7 for free, and I can stop the escalation this turn on board C. I feel like I have to click this, even though Bargains is tempting. I gave it a serious thought and decided that it's just not gonna work. Alright. So, I still need to defend this one over here. So I still need to get to 3 card plays. I need a sacred site there, so I actually need to put that. I'm placing paralyzing fright there, and then to defend. Oh, that doesn't even give me anywhere enough plants. Crap. Oh, that's awkward. Absolutely need to defend A6. I can't. I mean, I could let it. I could kind of let it go off. It just would be nice for this to be solved so that the build doesn't happen. But I'm definitely not paralyzing C7. Like, I'm always doing that. It's just I have to play like 2 plant cards, but it only gets me to defend 2. So I guess we could do Blazing Renewal to put a Sacred Site here. And then block the Ravage that way. Although blocking the Ravage doesn't stop the build, which is what I was really trying to do. Could do Pent-Up Calamity to put a Disease there. Actually, if I put a Strife there, it'd be enough. But Blazing Renewal is so good, though. Alright, I'm taking Blazing Renewal. Losing Call of the Deeps. Gathering into each ocean. Don't need that presence right now. Don't need this presence. So it's Blazing Renewal to target this. Call the Dahan ways. Just keep converting things. I guess the downside of forgetting Call of the Deeps is I lose my air card, but I think I'm okay with that. We do get to drown a city. And we are in a land with a city, so that's good. Paralyzing Fright there. Blazing Renewal, you here. Defend? No, defend wasn't enough. Well, there is a chance that it's enough based off the event card or the fear card. And that's the only land where the Ravage is going to happen, so yeah, it's going to go there. Alright, on each board, add a town to a land with Explorer Town. Population rises. Sand Fever Outbreak. On each board, add a disease to the sands or mountains with the most buildings. Offerings of Pattern and Dance. Each spear with at least 2 Dahan among all its lands gains +1 energy. Okay. So if my goal is to escalate C7, I don't want to add a town to a land that's going to make it escalate somewhere else. So putting it in C1 is obviously wrong. We also are adding a disease to the mountains or sands with the most buildings, which, like, if we're kind of accepting that this is gonna build anyway, putting a disease there will be fine. But if I do put a town there, though, that is gonna make A1 build. So no, I actually don't want to do that. I don't want to put any towns over there. So that leaves this, which I can't do, or these two, which I don't want to put it in a land with beasts, so I'm putting it in a land with blight, as scary as that is. Then we don't want this mountain to build, right? That was the other consideration. So I absolutely did not ever. Oh crap, they're building here. Well, they were always building there because of what we did. Okay, so that disease. Well, no, it's not gonna be diseased. God damn. Whatever. That is what it is. So that's whatever. We don't want to put it anywhere next to this mountain, so we don't want to put it in here either, as that's going to turn that into England. So the only choice left over, we could just put it straight here, honestly, as weird as that is. Disease. And then we didn't put a disease here because the sands and mountains don't have buildings, but anyone that we were to have added would have resulted in a build that I didn't want to have build. I guess this was always building now. Hold on. If this was always building, my analysis was wrong because this is always building. And this is kind of going to build tangentially. So putting a town there puts a disease there. So yeah, it doesn't actually change anything. Okay, I overcomplicated it. Then the diseases, then energy, then strife in a land with blight. Kind of like just, well, I could blight the city, but I'm not really... Since I can kind of consistently drown cities, I'm probably just not going to strife the city. So that's blocked. That's blocked. That's blocked. They build in that wetland, and they can't build there. They're exploring jungles. Okay. Call the Dawnways, drown a city. I'm not... The only valid city is here. I could drown this town instead, but I'm not really worried. And this Ravage will just block by destroying a sacred site. So jungle builds. So... And then Ravage is here. That one's gonna be blocked. So if I can defend 4 next turn, which I don't have the water for, I'm gonna have to gain a power card and hope that has water. But I can always just block the build with Overgrow, so I'm not really worried. This could be blocked with Grasping Tide. Huh. Oh, hi, Ocean. Hello, Barts. Welcome. You might not know me, but I am Logic Dolphin, host of Dolphin's Dive here on twitch.tv/Handelabra Games. I'm your host, Logic Dolphin. Pushing the Strife Town into A6 is a thought, but I have to be able to make sure I can defend or block. We also have Called the Dawnways, by the way. Forgot about that. I could just do this. And then defend. Oh, that's still 4 damage. Because stupid Russia. So that's... I can defend 2 guaranteed. The problem is I need to defend 4. I could just push the Explorer out. Would that be easier? Just do this. So now that's going to be solved. Push a town or 3 Dahan. Sure wish I could hit this. Sure wish I could hit this. I could hit this. Also, the A8 build is kind of annoying, but I could block it. I can overgrow in there. Still gain power card. I'm gonna have a million energy again. But I'm gonna gain a minor because I need to have a volume of cards. I'm getting... Yeah, if I'm gaining a... if I'm overgrowing, I have plus card play. Or no, if I'm gaining a power card, I'm not having plus card play. But I could take this and play 4 cards. Maybe I just play 4 cards next turn. Kind of feels like I'm reclaiming a lot anyway. It's not like bad with green, as you're always placing a presence. I could reclaim all and play Paralyzing Fight again, but it's not as fruitful when it's not a double mountain build. This is easily defended with Grasping Tide. Temptation is probably more to put 2 Dahan in there, but I kind of don't want Dahan in the ocean because Swallow the Land Dwellers exists. I think I'm just going to push this town, because always drown your towns. Huh. Could gain another major. I'm not going to. Would really like an error card to maybe try to get fear, but... And then this is also going to be power card, and we're just going to, whoops, gain a minor. We could gain 2 of a single element, which is a really annoying way of, Actually, no, I guess I just need 1 water, so I could target ocean with this. Not that I'm sure why, but... If all I need is a water to defend 4, but I don't even need to defend 4 anymore. This Ravage is going to be blocked. This Ravage is defended. This is probably defended. So that just leaves these as builds. So it's probably going to be that. You are not getting the 3 card plays this turn, but if you have 3 of a single, or 2 of a single element, you could gain air that way, and that gets you a million fear. So which of these would be nicer? Range 0 inland is literally unplayable. Doesn't really feel like many of these are playable. Good news is I found a power I could forget. 2 damage or remove a blight. Could remove the blight in C1. I'm probably not going to play it. I'm just going to click this. You can't stop me. Add a presence to coastal land and push from each coastal land. Even though I have a sacred site here, I'm probably not going to care too much about sacred sites. So now I'm in every coastal land, except for A2, because I'm stupid. But A2 is not relevant. So C1, obviously, I want to do a million things in, so I'd like to swallow the land dwellers and drown the city. There'll still be a town in there, but I also have to Grasping Tide for this land. And then that doesn't really help all that much, but it works. Okay. You're placing a presence. Goal is to ultimately be here. I will gain a water. I can give ocean air, I guess? Or does it make... Oh, actually earth. Because then they're building a town there. Swallow land dwellers. Drown. Yeah, so I can kill pretty much everything except for 1 explorer. That's pretty cool. I think I like that. We have 2 instances of Creeper's Tear, so we could also use this to try to kill a city somewhere. Also a gift of proliferation. Overgrow. Defend. Actually, before I do that, target you. Gain 2 earths. And then you gain a water, so now this is defend 4. Proliferation exists. Here, you can now grow into that coast. So now you are in all coasts. Congratulations. Grasping Tide. Visions out of time. I've not seen this event card before. A spirit more loosely time-ward than most warns of catastrophe's subtle seeds. Each spirit chooses. Let the warning waft. Let the warning waft into days past. Lose 1 energy and replace your most expensive non-unique power card in hand or discard pile combined with 1 of the same type. Reveal the top 4 cards of the deck, take 1, put it where your card is, then put your card in that deck's discard. Or heat off the problems yourself. Add 1 omen token to the land without omens that has the most invaders, minimum 1. After each Ravage step starting next turn, at each omen, 2 fear, invaders ravage, remove 1 omen. What? Why am I removing an omen? And why is that after each step? Are there multiple omens? Prevent Heedless in each land with beasts, 1 damage per beasts. Strength from trade, lands with Dahan have defend 2, and lands with buildings and no Dahan ravage actions do +1 damage. Oh, that's not going to do anything. Okay, so what the heck? Lose 1 energy. And pretty much we're losing our major powers, is what that does. So either we're replacing our major power. I mean, we could independently choose this. Or replace an omen to the land without omens that has the most invaders. And that's a global. So that would say, like, put 1 there and 1 there. After each Ravage step starting next turn, at each omen, 2 fear, invaders ravage, remove 1 omen. So if there's another event card that says omen on it, this is going to stack. Does it stack multiply, actually? If we both choose to head off the problems ourselves, does it say twice after each Ravage step? Or is that line actually independent of heading off the problems and it's just, this is always going to be an ongoing effect? So that means that A2 would be ravaging if I decide to do that. I mean, I guess C7 is always getting the omen, and technically not A2. But that's just a thought. It is going to be the next London, or is the London. I mean, I'm fine losing Paralyzing Fright. Blazing Renewal is a pretty powerful card in this game, but we could just gamble. All right, new majors. That would have been great on Ocean. Huh. How many heirs do you have? You're losing that one, but you will have that one, which also has water on it. So you can actually play those cards to have a presence move 2 cities and 2 blight. You know what land has 2 towns, 2 cities, and things in it? Oh boy. Oh boy. Is there any reason not to take Flow Like Water here? Other than the plant, this one also gives good elements for green. Target sands wetlands not immediately relevant next turn. 1 fear, 2 damage, isolate target land. After invaders of Dahan are moved into target land, destroy them. +4 damage, add a badlands, add a wilds. Poison land, rumbling earthquakes. That one's a new one. This power ignores health bonuses. 3 fear, 6 damage to buildings only, 6 damage among adjacent lands to buildings only. If you have 4 earth, 6 damage among target or adjacent lands to buildings only. Screw those pieces in particular. Don't really particularly care for that though. I think it's just full like water. And notice that I'm not forgetting a power here because it says take. It doesn't say gain, it says take. All right, Lit Warning Raft. These elements aren't really that great. There's no air, so I can't really get this going well. There is some earth. There is 1 moon. Manifest Incarnation. Range 0. 6 fear. That's a lot of fear. +1 fear for each building and for each of your presence in target land. Remove a city, town, and explorer. Then invaders in target land ravage. But remove bypasses destroy. Spill bitterness into the earth. 6 damage. Add 2 badlands or strife and a blight. And up to 3 adjacent lands with blight, add a badlands or strife. No. Okay. Volcanic eruption. 6 fear. 20 damage. Destroy all Dahan and beasts. Add a blight. Destroy all invaders. Add a wilds. And each adjacent land, 10 damage. Destroy all Dahan and beasts. If there are no blight, add 1 blight. Or gain 4 energy and may forget a power card to gain 4 more energy, or pay X energy minimum 1 to deal X damage and land at range 0. You may do both. Feels like Manifest Incarnation is the pick. I mean, it's very likely I will be in a land with cities and towns and whatnot. In each land with beasts, damage for beasts. Pretty much means these pieces are getting pushed, but no, they cannot push into the ocean. Could actually push this guy in here. Don't want to push you there. It's a lot of fear we're getting. Go there, whatever. Who cares? Lands with Dahan of Defend 2, and lands with buildings and no Dahan Ravage actions, blah blah blah. Skip all explore actions and lands with at least 2 Dahan. Cool. Well, this is a skip. And you can go in there. Why? I don't know. Probably should have gone coastal. Alright. City or no city? I say no city. Do I want to... Oh, wait. Do I want to do that? Hold on. Before I commit. So we do have Stem the Flow. Obviously, if I were to hit this, but I don't have the Sacred Site there anymore, so I can't hit that. I have Sacred Site here no matter what. If I do let the city build, I could kill it. That town is strife, so letting that... Like, damn it, destroying that town is not going to do much. Otherwise, I don't really have a good place for Stem the Flow, right? So I think I allow it. And we then don't have to worry about blocking the Ravage. Sands. We continue to build in that wetlands. Even though I kind of want to click this, probably makes more sense to click this. Does it? Oh, we might flow like water. Okay, let's flow like water. In which case, I actually want that to build. I was gonna swallow the land dwellers in C1, but if I flow like water, I can just get rid of everything in there. 2 cities, 2 towns, 2 explorers. I can also bring the Blight. Don't want to bring Dahan though. So instead, I can just basically do the same plan except in C2 or in A2. They're building in sands, but yeah, there's no. This is the only coastal sands. There's no buildings in there. So just drown, drown, drown. Okay, and then we do what I wanted to do. Lots of fear. Feels like we destroyed a lot of buildings. However, there's like a million fear cards in the deck, so we only just got to tier level 2. Alright. Major power? If I don't click major here, then something's wrong with me, right? I'm definitely reclaiming here. Probably taking major here. This one's pretty cheap, so I should be able to afford it. Uh-huh. What does this do? Transformative sacrifice. Target spirit may remove up to 3 presents from anywhere on the island. Then for each removed presence, they take a minor power and play it for free. Wait, so they basically gain a minor power, right? But obviously take is different than gain, but I assume that it's just you have this forever. Before taking cards, they may also remove a presence from their presence track to take a minor power. Oh my god, that's funny. 2 damage, destroy all explorers, jungle wetlands, add blade, add beasts, gather beasts, for each beasts 1 fear, and invaders skip 1 action. 1 badlands, push all Dahan, 1 damage to each invader. If the origin land is your sacred site, plus 1 damage to each invader. I mean, that combos well with Stem the Flow and Creeper's Tear, but Transformative Sacrifice sounds interesting. I'm almost at the presence cap. I can just keep removing a million presents and then gain a million minors. But before I get too carried away, we absolutely need to play an air water. So like I have to play Flow Down River. Or I could take one of these and then play any water. I'm playing 4 cards. It should be really easy to just make that happen. I don't have 3 fire. Unless I target this on myself. 2 moons, very easy. What if I just have Ocean do this? Well, Ocean's almost at the presence cap. I mean, there's almost no reason to even take from the presence track anyway. But this one would definitely be the easier threshold to hit. But giving Ocean this is also tempting, although the problem is Ocean's not going to be able to put Destroyed Presence back very easily since we did lose Blazing Renewal. If we did still have Blazing Renewal, then I would absolutely love to have Ocean just do crap. But it feels like it has to be this. I'm probably just going to ditch Gift of Nature's Connection. Presence the Jungler Wetland. Probably just going to go here. We're playing this. Then I'm playing the other air card I have. So I have that threshold. Then I play this one. I will never have 3 fire. So then pretty much at this point... at this point, I'm going to have millions of power cards in play, so all these elemental thresholds are very likely going to get hit. And notice that the reason it says before taking cards is to prevent you from hitting this threshold by playing minor powers that give you fire, or whatever element you still need. But yeah, Flowlic Water solves this. I don't have an immediate solution for A3. That's 6 damage. So we're kind of going to depend on power cards helping there, I think. This can be blocked. This can be blocked, but defending this seems better and blocking this seems better. So the only question mark is this, and that comes down to power cards. Ocean is currently gaining a major, right? Did we gain the major yet? No. Am I gaining a major? What am I doing? Alright, I didn't actually decide here. So maybe this decision influences me. Well... this one's interesting. During Ravage actions, Dahan explorers fight alongside Dahan. One damage per Dahan explorer to buildings only. Defend 2 during Ravage actions. Explorers fight alongside Dahan. That actually solves that land. Is that worth it, though? It does give me an air, which has been very tricky. Irresistible Call. Cannot target the ocean, unfortunately. Also, gathering 5 towns is very risky with England. I think I take Voice of Command here. And... even though Call of the Dawn Ways has been pretty good... I want to be able to drown things. Defend is probably still good. Have a unique Forgotten Power for the one event that cares about it. I would forget this, but I want to play my 3 cards, honestly. So maybe I forget this one. Add a presence to a coastal land, push from each ocean. Currently, I exist in a lot of lands. Let's do this. 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 Okay. I can drown a city, and I'm generating 2 fear. What now? Proliferate? I don't know. Now, transformative sacrifice. Uh-huh. Actually, before I do that... there's no blight in there, so I just want to do that. Okay, let's make sure that defend is there. Then... I don't need this presence... maybe. I do need some sacred sites somewhere. Maybe not quite. Maybe... but that's a secret site? No, it's not a secret site. Okay, jungles, wetlands are easy to grow into, so let's just remove those two. I can remove up to 3, so I don't have to remove 3, but why wouldn't I? Let's remove that one. There's nothing happening there. And I get these cards that are just played immediately. And now I have 7 cards in play. Okay. So we now have Delusions of Danger, Pushes an Explorer or 2 Fear. Dark and Tangled Woods, 2 Fear, Defend 3 in Mountains, Jungles. Renewing Rain. Adds a Wilds, removes a Blight. Voice of Command? No. Flow like water. Here, there, push. This, 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 this. And then this one Explorer survives because he's cool like that. You can go there, whatever. How many cards do you want to play? Correct. Cool. There's also a Blight in the ocean now. Don't think about it too hard, but there is a Blight in the ocean now. Okay. Let's just proliferate you here. I don't know. Okay, so that's Defend Forward. I have 6 Destroyed Presents. Sure wish we still had the frickin' Blazing Renewal. So that would have been really nice. I can get Fear. It feels like there has to be a better place for this than A3. 2, 4, 6. That's Defend 3. I could push and Explore out. But this is defended. That doesn't have Dahan. I could defend 3 there. I'm not sure if that's really that worthwhile. But I mean, like, there's no real other place for this anyway. Push an Explorer or 2 Fear. Feels like 2 Fear would be better. But let's just destroy that town. And now those Explorers aren't really, like, doing anything. They're dealing damage alongside the Dahan, but there's no other guys in there. So is it just 2 Fear? Is it legit 2 Fear? So there's no build here. Look at that. There's no build here. I don't even know why. Was it a Fear card? Skip all Explore actions. Okay, yeah. So they didn't Explore there because there's 2 Dahan. There's also not building because it's not 2 adjacent buildings. I can't push, like, pushing this guy out's not going to stop this build because there's too many buildings. These have too many Explorers. Otherwise this one would be prevented, but this one wouldn't be. So I'm just 2 Fearing this to get to another Fear card? I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just generating Fear. Cultures mix and clash. On each board, if Dahan outnumber buildings by 2 or more, replace a town with Dahan. If buildings outnumber Dahan by 2 or more, replace a Dahan with a town. That kind of sounds like a win more, lose more card. Foreign diseases. On each board in the land with the most combined invaders plus Dahan, minimum 1 of each, add a disease, 2 damage to Dahan. Offerings of Pattern and Dance. Each spirit with at least 2 Dahan among all its lands gains 1 energy. Okay. So, forcibly replacing... If I replace a Strife town, does it also Strife the Dahan? No, it's replacing... We're replacing this, right? Like, this guy doesn't matter? Or do I get rid of it because then we lose an inland? Maybe I just get rid of that guy. Okay. And then on this board it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings and 1, 2, 3, 4 Dahan, so it did nothing. Most combined invaders plus Dahan. Most combined invaders plus Dahan. So it's forcibly this one and this one. And energy and remove and explore town from a coastal land. I like remove. Remove bypasses destroy. Tempted to just remove that, but like I need a land where they add a city. Am I just going to remove these guys? Not doing much. Each player adds strife in a land with beasts, disease, Dahan. For the rest of this turn, invaders have -1 health per strife to a minimum of 1. Okay. We have 3 instances of Creeper's Tear. That potentially kills a lot of buildings if I do this. We don't have, like, any other damage other than that. So if I just strife this city and I strife this town, I can kill both. On each board, remove a town. Well, there's no choice. Okay. So this ravage is now actually fine. Push and explore, whatever. Then those guys aren't getting damaged because they're fighting alongside the Dahan. Then they build in the sands. Then wetlands. So we have a choice here. It's always coastal though. Always coastal, even though it's wetlands. And then the other land was diseased, so it didn't build on this board. Okay. We do have 2 damage on this. Ooh. Didn't even notice we had that. We also have Tidal Boon. We have like 1,000,000 powers. I don't even know what any of them do. I'm just gonna do like what I wanted to do. This is the part where we're winning too hard, so I'm not even gonna like pay attention to my strategy here because like whatever. Jungle Sands, Blight Removal out of Wilds. There. We did it. Whatever that means. Swallow that city. Cool. Tidal Boon, is there a good place for that? I don't even know. Let's see. This is Ravage, this is Ravage, this is Ravage. Yes. And then this is build, this is build, this is build, this is build. We could just push that town out, but... There's not even a town in Greenslands right now. But like using this to push a town into my land seems kind of silly too. Jungle wetland. Like, do I need to drown things when I'm at 14 plus 2 energy right now? Do I need to drown things right now? Manifest Incarnation doesn't really have a valid target at this rate. But 8 more fear and we win the game and there's already no cities on the island. So just get fear and win. I wish I could target that. Well, I can target that. Oh, because I have +2 range. I have +2 range. So I actually can target that. Sick. In that case, let's get rid of the town since it's a minus health and then go there. Take advantage of the minus health while we still have it. I'm not really worried about this Ravage. I'm not even really thinking too hard about what's going on here. I'm just trying to think, what town can I even push? And the answer is none. So just push this guy. And then we're not using this to push a town. Use this to push it to Han if we can, but there's not really even like a place to push it to Han. Just move this guy over here. I don't know. Also, I'm at 16 plus 2 energy. So if I don't click power here, or if I don't click major power here, someone's going to be really mad. Weave together. Aha. I don't know that defend 1 from Dahan is going to actually do anything significant, but it's interesting. Weave? This gives me water, earth, air. Any reason I don't just do that? Any reason I don't just click major here? I don't know how I ended up with 1,000,000 energy on both these spirits, but I did. If the goal is to win fast, then I gotta get as much fear as possible. So let's just click the fear cards. I don't care what these cards do, I just care that they say fear. As he says as he removes the fear card, but details. Wetland build. Somehow I don't have any wetland presence. You go there. Play your hand. And you don't have the threshold on that. Rude. This says fear. I don't have 3 air, despite my best efforts. But I do have voice of command, whatever that means. At this rate, there's no cities. Am I forgetting manifest incarnation? No, it's the children that are wrong. Okay. Fear. 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 2 more cards. Just play the majors. Fear. Yeah, we just win. Like, I don't care, there's no valid target. You can't stop me. This pushes 4 things. Fear. Oh, but you survive. Silly George. Starting to think we might win this. Also, that says fear, by the way. How do I want to win at this point? Let's just fear it. Game over, victory. There are no cities on the island. Correct. That was a weird game. At least it feels weird. I think green is just too strong of a spirit, ultimately. 53 points, so it wasn't that good. 10 for victory, 30 for difficulty 6, 10 for the 5 remaining invader cards, 5 for the 10 surviving Dahan, -2 for the 4 blight. We won on turn 7. And the board looks like this, because plot. We just decided to rotate it 90 degrees. Why? Why not? Never got to stage 3, so we never got the Russia escalation, which would have added more explorers. But yeah, kind of weird. I don't know. Whenever I play Russia and explorers deal 2 damage, it just feels weird because, like, I can't solve ravages the way I normally do, where I push a town out and ignore the explorer, because the explorer is still dangerous. But We won too hard, so clearly the game was too easy and I should have ramped it up. It was only difficulty 6. Why even bother if it's single-digit difficulty? Like, when I'm sleep deprived, tired, and trying to play an easy game, I go difficulty 20. I don't know about you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed your stay. This was Dolphin's Dive. We're here every Monday at 6 p.m. until my schedule changes and I start working Mondays again. But for now, I'm off on Mondays, which is nice. Be sure to check out the other stream we have on this channel, Handelabra Live, Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, where John tends to demo content before it is publicly available. Currently, Nature Incarnate is in active development, so if you didn't notice the power cards and event cards that we saw in this game, they are actually part of the first release of Nature Incarnate, alongside an aspect for Thunder Speaker, an aspect for Sharp Fangs underneath the leaves, and a spirit whose name I forget. But I played it. It was an interesting spirit. Very offensive. Very nice. But yeah, Nature Incarnate is in active development, and you get to see its progress if you pay attention to Handelabra Live. But for now, this was Logic Dolphin. And I still am Logic Dolphin, but I used to be too. I'll see you guys later. Bye!